Ra, 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 ra. R-A. Ra, 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 ra. R-A. Ra, ra, ra. Cześć, witam wszystkich serdecznie, Andzik z tej strony. Dzisiaj kontynuujemy grę Outer Worlds. I jesteśmy w Botanical Lab, tam gdzie ostatnio skończyliśmy. W tym momencie może być poważnie, bo będziemy musieli pewnie wybierać strony. Adelaide McDavid. Dowiemy się wszystkiego co i jak. Pięknie tu. Witam.
If you're hungry, there's meat turning on the spit outside. If you're bearing illness, find a place to lay your head down and I'll fetch you a poultice. Whatever your troubles with Edgewater, leave them at the gates and be welcomed here. Any questions, dear? I have been called that, among other things. Green Thumb, grandmother, the strange old lady who keeps flowers. But yes, Adelaide will do just fine.
Excuse me, Miss McDevitt? Sorry, it's just... You got such pretty trees in here.
Why, thank you. You're Robert's girl, aren't you? I remember when you were but a sprout. Thomas speaks of you often. Are you staying long? You should try some of my tobaccorn tea. I brew it in an old spittoon, but it's been cleaned.
Nie wiem, mój bohater chyba nie pali, co? A, zobaczmy to. Do rzeczy.
Thompson, you here on behalf of that cold-eyed reptile? Let's hear it. What's Reed's idea of peace, then?
To może wpłynąć na jej nastawienie, tak mi się wydaje.
I can't say I blame you. Reed is positively soporific. Like everything else that comes out of Edgewater, that peace offering is canned. I and my own are living just fine out here by ourselves. He would do such a thing. The question is, why would you agree to his plans?
Bądźmy szczerzy w sumie. W waszym obozie jest regulator zasilania. Potrzebuję go, aby naprawić swój statek.
Cannery's got a regulator. You want ship parts, you ought to rip them out of the cannery's guts and leave us be. If you're going down to the plant, you should divert power away from Edgewater and toward our end of the grid. Think about it. You'd be liberating an entire town from a lifetime of service to that odious cannery. Seems the sort of thing a hero would do.
Nawet nie chodzi o bohatera, bo w sumie zaszkodzenie dużej korporacji to jest dobra sprawa.
Well, if it's all the same to you, then you ought to divert power over to us, shut down Reed's cannery, and scrap it for parts. You've seen that miserable excuse for a town with your own lamps. Hollowed out workers laboring their lives away at the cannery, living off whatever scrap Spacer's choice throws them. You know that's true, don't you, Miss Holcomb? Your father died of overwork. His heart gave out.
He was tired all the time, sure, but he was old, ma'am, and he raised me all by his lonesome.
Look what they did to this child. Lost her family to the company, and still she defends them. It's not much of a living. Every single person in that town has sold themselves to Spacer's Choice. The company owns them. Body, blood, and bones. You've been there. You've seen it. All anyone ever does is toil over a cannery. They give their lives for some heartless corporation, and then they're tossed into a Spacer's Choice brand cemetery. Life in Edgewater grinds to a halt. The cannery shuts down, workers desert in droves, and our own little camp grows and thrives. You bring power to Reed's town and you'll be killing us. Reed knows it. He's counting on it. I trust you will listen to your conscience.
Świetnie, myślę, że chyba tak zrobię. Rozwalimy tego Reeda, bo on to wygląda na takiego gangstera. Czemu nie? Jesteśmy niedaleko od następnego celu. Stefan! Okej, nie będę cię zabijał.
You hungry? We got canid ribs, canid flank, canid snout too. Something I can help you with?
A właśnie, to quest.
You mean Zoe? Yeah, we were pretty close. Not like her to go loping off. Zoe and I were gonna watch the serials, as is our custom. She never turned up. I looked around, but she was nowhere to be found. You sound like some type of corporate fixer asking all these questions. Can't say I recall Zoe ever acting strange. Well, except for her habit of writing things down on scraps of paper. She called it journaling, but I think it's just plain odd. Zoe was always obsessed with this serial. Masked Marketeer. A scion of Byzantium turns to banditry and teaches his marauder companions the wisdom of free market economics. Shame she up and vanished when she did. I had a surprise lined up for her.
Mamy jeszcze jakieś pytanie?
The other day I got my hands on a genuine copy of the latest Masked Marketeer. I was gonna surprise Zoe with it, but she was gone the next day. Hey, I got time.
No tak. Okej. Musimy się kawałek wrócić chyba. Idziemy do tej elektrowni w sumie. O, co to za dźwięki? Żadnych wrogów nie ma?
I always wanted to poke around in here.
Tak, tylko najpierw... Chodź tu. Rozwalimy security. Czekaj, ja muszę zmienić broń. Jak żyjesz? Żyjesz? Dobra. Jest trochę tych robotów. Dobrze. Niech idą sobie.
That's the last of them.
Tak? To świetnie. Czekaj, to można tu skoczyć. Świetnie. Okej, co my tu mamy? Czekaj, przeładuję. Będzie w razie czego ktoś, to...
The control room should be ahead somewhere and touch to the right. I hope
Co
we
to?
did the right thing.
Oczywiście.
Here they come.
Nie, poczekaj. Nie idź do przodu, chodź tu.
Going. Heading out.
Chodź tu, chodź tu. Spokojnie. Sprawdźmy okolice, zanim się pośpieszymy, no nie? Tu są drzwi nawet w sumie. O, proszę bardzo. Odblokowaliśmy drzwi, świetnie. Wiadomości. Same korporacyjne bzdury, ale jak chcecie, to spauzujcie sobie i możecie sobie przeczytać. Ale ktoś tu chyba już był. Będziemy tu chyba raczej tylko raz. Energia się chyba odnawia jej po jakimś czasie. Nie wiem, czy mogę ją leczyć. Dawać jej na przykład jakieś napoje. Coś tam na dole jest. Ale musimy iść tutaj. Jeszcze chwilę luknijmy na dół. A tu robak. O, nie mam wystarczającej tej. Czegoś nie mam, czegoś mi brakowało. Oczywiście, odblokuj drzwi. O, nie znam hasła. A, mam hasło? A, widocznie było w pliku, okej. Okej. My musimy iść tam, ale ja... Chciałem się rozejrzeć. No, zaryglowane. Ktoś tam jest może, co? Może ktoś przeżył. A tu się mogę schować. Szeptem gadała jak kucnąłem? To ciekawe. O Boże. No, walnij go pałką. Gin! A, żyjesz? Całe szczęście. My w ogóle idziemy w inną stronę niż powinniśmy. O! Tam ktoś jest. Chodźmy go uratować. Jeśli da radę, oczywiście. Gdzie jesteś? A, jesteś Higgins.
You're not real. Get away from me, Phantom. Shoot, scram.
Uspokój się. O, właśnie.
You can talk? The Phantom's never talked before. I knew I shouldn't have eaten that sprat raw.
Kurde, no.
See, Higgins? This is why you must always boil your sprats before ingesting.
To znaczy, że daje mu halucynacje.
Clearly, I mistook you for one of the phantoms of my imagination, which terrorized me on occasion. Chester D. Higgins. The D stands for definitely not insane. I use it as a reminder. Oh, Higgins has been many things over the years. Sprat Wrangler, Saltuna Critic, Aetherwave Personality, Chairman of the Board, Galactic Defender, Sisty Pig Tycoon. I've come a long way for someone who started off as a simple engineer right here in this plant. Mechanicals lost their bolts. Opened fire on anything that moved. It was pandemonium.
Aha. AI zaszwankowało.
I was on cleaning duty at the time. My old boss had me scrubbing pipes when the killing started. So, as usual, I missed out. I specialized in automechanicals, drones, sentries. Repaired them, maintained, upgraded. Did it all from my old workroom just over in the next section. Look, I don't want to fall into any trouble with the mechanicals. If they wise up to our plans, they will come for us. With prodding irons. You know, you remind me of myself back when I was an intergalactic adventurer. I discovered a flaw. Their hostility levels were hardwired to maximum. There's no changing that, but you could rewrite their targeting protocol so they attack each other instead.
O, to jest świetne. Możemy zrobić tak, że maszyny zaatakują siebie.
Yes, that's exactly it. I see you're also versed in the noble art of mechanical
Oczywiście.
engineering. There's a behavior control terminal in the other room. It should have options to change how the mechanicals act, including whom they shoot at. Oh, that reminds me. You'll need my passcode to access the behavior control terminal. Here, let me just write it down for you.
Dziękuję.
Definitely start with the tail. If you're feeling adventurous, the ears are a particular delicacy. Jimmy'd opened the vending machines. That lasted a good couple of months. Eventually, I had to resort to more unconventional means of filling my insides.
Okej, jadłeś szczury. Dobra. To w takim razie mamy questa. Okej. To zobaczmy, co się stanie. To będą teraz do siebie strzelać? No zobaczymy. A, teraz. To teraz możemy wrócić do głównego celu, który jest gdzieś tam. Generalnie to prosty level raczej. Ale detale mi się podobają, naprawdę dobrze wykonana. Jeszcze po tylu latach wygląda nawet dobrze. Stan elektrowni. Ok, przekieruj zasilanie. No musimy iść na górę tam, nie? Tu jeszcze są drzwi. O cholera. Ok, chodźmy tędy szybko. A, tu i tak jest robot. Trochę to taki cyberpunk w pewnym sensie, to znaczy cyberpunk był później, ale też strzelasz, ale pokazuje jak w cyberpunku.
If we send the power to Miss McDevitt, what happens to Vale?
A, no cóż. Przeładowałeś? O, już nie mam zbytnio naboi. Gdzie jesteś? Tak, to był ostatni wróg. A, my tu już chyba byliśmy. Dobra, tędy chyba, co? tu jest jeszcze przełącznik.
Once we do this, there's no going back. Hey, mister? Look, I know you want your power regulator and all, but I just gotta ask you. Do you understand what you're about to do? I don't think you should cut off Edgewater's power. I think it would be cruel. I'm sorry. That just sort of came out all at once. Edgewater's hurting. We've been losing workers year after year, and corporate hardly ever sends replacements. There's barely enough Saltuna to fill our bellies anymore. But the town's got some good people in it. Decent, hard-working folk just living their lives the only way they know how. They don't deserve to be punished. Miss McDevitt's built something beautiful. Somehow she's talked the ground into giving life again. It's plain to see she's made the Vale a better place. Fed the hungry, tended the sick. Gave a home to those that had none. But Miss McDevitt delights in Edgewater's suffering. She wants to hurt the town. Do you really want to be party to that kind of hatred? Well, that sure sounds like Mr. Thompson. If he was standing here, I imagine he'd remind us of how we're all one big, happy Spacer's Choice family. In Mr. Thompson's eyes, those deserters are still part of the Spacer's Choice family. The family must work together in order to survive. I hate to say it, but I think Mr. Thompson's got a point. Unless those deserters come back, Edgewater's as good as dead. Cutting off their power might be the only way. Sorry, I didn't mean to babble on like that. I felt like I had to say something. Really? I mean, wow. Thanks. No one's ever told me those words in that order.
No, dobrze. No i teraz musimy podjąć decyzję. Nie ma trzeciej możliwości? Kurczę, no. Każdy wybór ma jakieś tam znaczenie. I będę musiał zrobić save'a tutaj. Ewentualnie sprawdzić inny wybór później. Dobra, i lecimy z przekazaniem do Botanical. Przekieruj zasilanie. Okej, do nadbrzeża. Laboratorium. Robimy laboratorium. No i to tyle. Teraz będą na mnie wkurzeni w tamtym mieście. Ale trudno. Szkoda, że nie ma trzeciej opcji. I pytanie jest, czy mogę jeszcze naprawić reputację? Czy będzie tak do końca? No, to teraz możemy wrócić do nadbrzeża, ale to nam zajmie trochę czasu. I w tym momencie będę kończył odcinek. No, teraz dopiero będzie się gra rozkręcała tak naprawdę. Zobaczymy, co będzie dalej. Dziękuję wszystkim za oglądanie. Tutaj był Anjix i do zobaczenia. Cześć.
Welcome to the edge of the galaxy, the frontier of space. Well, at least it was until the corporations bought it, branded it, and started selling it at ludicrously inflated prices. And the rest of your fellow settlers? Abandoned on the edge of the colony. I'd save them myself.